Hi, I'm Perry Black. Don't go away. On this show, we have House of Representative Tony Furman and his lovely wife, Lauren Furman, who's one of our case managers at the ranch. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black. And on this show, we have two, yes, I said two, very special guests. House of Representatives for the state of Arkansas, Tony Furman. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And your lovely wife, Lauren, is here. Now, on these shows, we always want to get to know y'all, but there's so much that I want to cover. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time because some people may already know you. But give us a background. Tony, you come from an educational background. Weren't you a school teacher and a coach?
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that. Where?
At Valonia.
And what did you do there?
So I taught 7th grade and 8th grade social studies and coached 8th and 9th grade football.
And at some point, you made your way over to Arkansas Christian Academy. Tell us what you did at Arkansas Christian Academy.
Pretty much the same thing. Taught social studies and coached football.
Yeah. And was it a good football team that year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How'd we do?
We went to state.
Yeah.
Didn't win.
Where did we play state championship? Was that in Oklahoma?
Oklahoma, yes, sir.
Yeah. And but you've not been teaching for the last couple of years.
Right. Yeah, I took a year off to campaign, and last year I've been serving, as you said, in the House of Representatives.
Now,
He's a realtor.
Lauren, you're also a school teacher.
So I have been for 6 years. I've taught in Benton schools and then in Arkansas Christian Academy, and now I'm on the clinical staff for the ranch.
Oh, so you're on clinical staff. I wonder what that means, Tony. You have any idea what that means? That means you're a case manager.
Yes, and so so all of our community homes, which are homes, just people that foster through their own personal homes, I work with those parents and all the kids in their homes.
So maybe people don't know what you just said. We need to break that down. We Second Chance Youth Ranch, we actually have homes in the community that are not a part of our campus foster homes.
Right.
And I'm not sure that still made any sense. So people who have their own profession, they own their own home, and choose to foster, we at Second Chance Ranch provide case management, therapeutic assistance, and so forth.
Yeah, so we actually, we will start with them. They aren't even, foster parents yet. We will get with them. We will open their home, basically help them with the whole process.
You mean you'll open their house?
Right.
I'm not sure I want you in my house. Means that you'll walk them through the whole process of learning what it means to be a foster parent. Training, everything.
So instead of going through DHS, they can go through the ranch, and then we will place the children in their home instead of DHS.
And as of this taping, how many community homes do we currently have?
So we have 7.
We have 7.
7 homes.
And approximately how many foster children would be in the total of those 7 homes?
10.
10 foster children. And then on our campus, which is made up of 2 campuses, one at Saline County, out near the community of Perrin.
Yeah.
And then we have 3 foster homes in Bryant on our campus. So that would put us around 43 to 45 foster children currently.
Yeah.
That's a lot of foster children.
It is.
That sounds like a full-time job. So Tony, you're involved in our government, in our state capitol. How did you go from teaching in public school, teaching in private school, and then becoming a representative in our house?
Right. So I started teaching public school funny story. When I went to college, I majored in aviation, and God closed all these doors. And I'm like, okay, so now what? Well, the only degree that I could do and not start over from scratch was political science, which is kind of a useless degree.
Yeah,
so,
I dropped out of political science at ASU.
Yeah, so here I have this degree. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to teach because I don't want to go to law school. So I started teaching in public school, and then we had our firstborn, but I was driving an hour to work every day, and with coaching, I wouldn't get home until 6 or 7 at night.
Yeah, you were coaching at Valonia. She was teaching in Benton.
In Benton, right. Yeah. So, we had a commute, and I was gone all the time. And, on game nights especially, I wouldn't get home till 2 in the morning sometimes. I was missing, the first walking and talking. So looking for a job closer to home which we found Arkansas Christian, which was about 8 minutes from my house. So God opened that door. And
Now, when you first found Arkansas Christian, you were attending another church in Benton. Weren't you working with teenagers there?
yes, sir, I was the youth pastor of my home church,
Which
in
is?
Benton, Revolution.
Church.
Benton.
Where's
Yes, sir.
that at?
It's by the movie theater, actually.
Tinseltown.
Down by Tinseltown. Still there?
Yes, sir.
Still in that shopping strip there?
Yeah.
Just down from Firehouse Subs.
Oh yeah.
Firehouse
Free
isn't-
advertising.
Firehouse isn't there anymore.
Now
I know, but the church is.
quilt
It's a
room.
quilt room that my grandmother
Yeah.
goes to once a week and
Yeah.
sews.
And then I guess so then we started fostering. And then
Well, tell us about fostering. Since you're a case manager now, tell us about fostering. When did y'all foster, and how many kids? And
So we
forth?
started as respite house parents at the ranch.
And what is a respite?
It's like the way I've explained it to people who don't know, I call it like a substitute house parent. Like
Yeah.
the people who were there. I mean, the schedules are all different now, but
Yeah.
at the time you worked 2 weeks on. It feels weird saying worked because it's like
Yeah.
life, but you were at the house for 2 weeks and then you would leave for 1 week.
Yeah.
So we would go on for that week
For that
while
week.
the normal parents would leave, and then we would go from one house to the next house, and then we would leave for a week.
And due to federal legislative changes, we no longer do a week.
Yeah.
We try to give them a night out or a couple of nights
yeah, which
in
I
a
think
day.
is great.
Yeah.
So then we went from respiting to full-time full-time foster parents at the TLP at the time.
Now the TLP stands for.
Transitional living program.
Yeah, so we had teenage boys.
I try to help our viewers understand.
Yeah,
Sure.
so we
You
had
know.
teenage boys, and then we went from that into actually doing one of the community homes. So we fostered teenagers through our actual house, our personal house.
Yeah, y'all live in the city of Benton. Yeah. And we're going to build a house in Benton as soon as we get lumber prices down, if that's possible, and we get concrete prices down. We've raised the money to build another foster home that would be another in-town home
Yeah.
that would be a part of our campus ministry. And the lumber prices are so absurd right now, it's hard for me to get my brain around spending that kind of money on lumber if we can
Right.
wait a little bit longer. So how did you then migrate from fostering in your home in Benton to just most recently becoming a case manager? What was the thinking there?
So I've known, God's really put this in my heart for a while. I love teaching, and I love, kids, but I also just have this heart for foster children and this heart for, just loving and supporting them. And so I feel like with this new career, it's really a way I can, I'm still learning, we're still teaching about life skills and anger management, all of those things that they need to work on, but I'm getting to, incorporate my love for foster care. And so it's really perfect for me.
Yeah. We're going to come back here in just a moment, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening down at the state capitol. You've got a meeting you're getting ready to go to, a lot going on about fostering in families, so we'll take a brief break and be right back.
A mission field around you is filled with young hearts needing a forever family. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch, our team is committed to providing healthy, stable, loving homes and families to hurting children in the Arkansas foster care system and those up for adoption. Please contact us if you feel the tug at your heart to help foster or adopt, and find out the steps you could take to help fulfill a child's lifelong dream. Maybe you can't foster or adopt, but you could help. The need for thousands of children in the system is staggering. But with the help of faithful partners and business alliances, we are meeting those needs right now. Would you help us make a difference? Every gift, regardless of size, impacts a child's life directly and helps provide for a home in the gap right now. Visit the Second Chance Youth Ranch website at 2CYR.org to read more, watch the stories, and to make a contribution for a hurting child's care. Monthly partners are needed, so please contact us right away. And as you partner with this ministry, you are partnering with the Heavenly Father that has promised to be Father to the fatherless. God bless you for helping Second Chance Youth Ranch.
Hey, welcome back. On this show, we have House of Representative Tony Furman serving at our state capitol, and Lauren Furman, who is our case manager, one of many case managers. I think we have 5 now, or maybe 6. And the case manager really helps our foster parents and our kids, really both, and everybody involved in that circle, which would be their educators, any contact at the school counseling, the doctor appointments, prescriptions, all that stuff is what a case manager helps.
Right.
What about when our homes in our community that you are serving, if they have an issue in the evening, a child's having a difficult time, traumatic event or something like that, is it the case manager or is it the therapist that would go to assist?
Either one of us, if there's someone that's more available, maybe that person, but either one of us, I'll go pick up kids for a couple hours if they're having a hard time and just kind of support the family, let them kind of have a minute, but also spend time with that child. If it's a dangerous situation, then yes, we would go get them immediately. But I always try to see.
Lauren, there's always people watching, and they admire y'all for working at the ranch. They admire you for being in our therapeutic team. They think that's wonderful. They fantasized about fostering. They think it would be wonderful, but the fear of the unknown. What does a case manager, for those who work professionally, maybe have a child or two and they want to foster a child, what does the case manager really provide other than, like I said, 6, 7 o'clock at night, they're just needing some assistance? What else do y'all do? You train them, you help them get their home approved.
Right.
What else do we do for those folks?
I meet with all of my kids once a week, and I do up 2 hours with them, and so I really spend time with them if there's any issues in the home, but then also they have treatment plans with goals and objectives that we're working on.
That the clinical staff provide.
Yes, that we all provide. And then, for the parents, a lot of times I'll meet with them for coffee or even just go hang out with them at their house for a little bit and help them clean, whatever they need, really. We're there to support them.
So they don't feel like they're just kind of winging this on their own,
No,
learning
I
as they
get
go.
calls all the time. They have my number. They've got all of our numbers.
Yeah.
We are very much a village at the ranch.
Yeah.
We take care of each other.
Yeah. So Tony, let's kind of flip the script a little bit. You've got a meeting you've got to go to here in just a little bit concerning things that are in the pipeline of what politicians and those serving what we call public servants. Tell me, how did you make the move into the political arena? Tell me why and how.
Sure. Well, I've always had an interest in politics. I never well, I'm not gonna say never. I always thought that if I was gonna run for something, it'd be something a little smaller at first. But I was selling real estate one day. I was in a driveway waiting for a buyer to show up to show this house, and I heard on the radio that my current state representative wasn't seeking re-election. So I just kind of started, daydreaming about it, and that's all I thought it was. But after 3 days, I can't stop thinking about it, and I talked to Lauren about it, and she's usually so risk adverse, like, no, don't do this, don't do that.
I know.
You might. And then I told her, I just floated the idea out there, and she's like, yeah, you should totally do that. And I'm like, really? Like, you just saying go for it? Like,
What is your district?
so it just changed. We have the new census, so it actually worked out really well for me because Benton's grown so much, so the population is kind of condensed around Benton. I go out a little bit into Haskell, and then my eastern boundary is
Pretty much here at the church.
the ranch house, the Woodland Park Road.
So our ranch campuses, we have 3 campus homes here on these 25 acres where the church sits here in Bryant. And we're actually in your district now due to the redistricting.
Yeah.
Did you have something to do with that?
No, it's the
No,
governor,
but
the AG,
that's
and
where-
Secretary of State.
yeah.
That's who had it. Which is funny is when I was campaigning, the church wasn't in my district, and I had some people tell me I should go to, I won't say the name, but this other church that's in your district, because that's where all the people who want to be somebody go. I'm like, I'm not going to change churches.
What about our 300 acres out near Perrin? That's still Saline County. Whose district is that?
That is Mary Bentley's new district.
And
Yeah,
she's a
Representative Mary
really good friend of yours and of the ranch. And we're going to have her on the show one of
She's
these
great.
days
Yeah.
real soon.
Yeah.
So you made the move into the political arena. What'd you find out about serving at the Capitol? This is a loaded question. What'd you learn about working at the Capitol that you didn't know before you went to the Capitol? What did
How
you
much time
find
do you
out?
have?
What's the dynamic down there? Can you give me a 25-second?
Sure, I'll say the biggest shock. I'm walking into this, and I think, we're a Republican supermajority, and I'm a Republican, so I'm thinking, man, we're going to be able to do whatever we want, because surely we all agree as Republicans on platform issues. Wrong.
That's not the way it
If
works.
it's guns or babies, yeah, we all agree. But outside of guns and babies, forget it.
A lot of independents around. How many districts are there? Can you tell me that in the state?
100, right?
That sounds right. Sure.
Our district.
I couldn't tell you how many
Yeah,
churches
I
are
just
in the
worry so much,
community.
and I just focus so much on my district. I don't,
So there's a lot of different districts, so there are a lot of different players.
Oh, actually, you know what? Yes, 100, because there's 100 representatives, so.
So what role, Tony, do you think that money plays as influencing political decisions by those in our capital?
Sure. Well, I mean, money does play some role in the process. I mean, you have lobbyists whose...
And you've got supporters.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd say, lobbyists, a lot of people just have a really negative connotation with that. But I mean, it's not like Hollywood. They're not like trying to, pass us money, or they can't even buy us lunch.
They're there to promote what's important to them.
Their job is to represent their client's interest, and if their client wants a certain bill passed, then they're just doing their job. But I mean, as far as like lobbyists trying to pay politicians to
not really pay.
I have a friend who was a friend before I became an elected official. That friend is a lobbyist. He can't even buy me lunch on my birthday because of the laws. Which I'm not complaining about it. I mean, because we don't want to open the door a little bit because things happen.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, but I mean, so money does play, to your question, money does play some role when you have a really big lobbying behind certain issues.
Because we all put our money where our heart is. And a lobbyist, we have lobbyists, I'm confident, that fight and promote family values. We're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back with Tony and Lauren.
My name is MJ, and I'm 13.
My name is Kyler, and I'm 7. My name is Briella, and I'm 11.
My favorite thing about Kyler is he just says random things sometimes.
My favorite thing about MJ is just how he likes to read, because when he likes to read, he imagines more stuff, and it's just his happy place, and I like how when people are happy.
So I like to be outside, play sports, and play video games.
I like to play on my tablet and watch TV. I like to just have fun anytime, like art, music. That's what I like. My favorite artist is Adele. My favorite subject is math, and my least favorite subject is spelling. What's your favorite subject? It's science. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a police officer.
I want to be a mechanical engineer. What would you do with $1 million?
Candy.
Get a lot of candy.
Skittles, M&M's, and that's it. If I had $1 million, I would just use some for myself, but then I'd use some to give it to people. Because $1 million is a lot, I don't need that much.
All that money, I would probably give all my friends $500 and then donate some to charity and then put some in my savings because mechanical engineering college is not cheap.
If I would go anywhere in the world, it's either Pennsylvania or I would go to England or London for pretend I'm Harry Potter or something. To visit my friend Statler.
He lives right next door.
Yeah, by our house.
You guys want to be in a forever home?
I do. Because it's hard being a foster child when you move around to this place and you go to this place and then you have to get your clothes, your toys, all of that into the other place, and then next thing you know, a month later you go to a different place.
I would probably want a family that does a lot of sports stuff and they have a lot of side-by-sides and dirt bikes and stuff because I love to do that.
The kind of family I want is with my brothers, but I also want a family that's caring and is, a family that cares enough for us and just does stuff with us.
If I had one wish, I would wish for everybody to not have to go through all the foster homes.
Just everybody to be good and not have to deal with everything that I've been through. And also just stay with their siblings. Because it's just fun when I'm with my brothers, and if I'm alone, I'm alone. I can't do anything about that.
Kyler, do you want to be back with your sister?
Yeah,
Why?
because I love her.
Hey, welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Our special guests, Lauren and Tony, our House of Representative, and also one of our case managers at Second Chance Ranch. I know the segments between these parts that we show here on set are touching the hearts and lives of those who watch, because the videos that we use with Project Zero are all about getting you involved in seeing a child or children who are believing for a forever family. So we want to encourage you not just to be a viewer, but to get engaged and involved. And there's many ways you can do that through mentoring, fostering, adopting. If you have a home and you just want one child, wouldn't that be awesome that we could get somebody from this show to call 501-594-5200 or go to our website, 2CYR.org, I think, and contact us and say, I want to know more about adopting or mentoring or fostering.
Yeah.
And this show could change the life of a child. I just did a funeral last week for someone who was adopted from another country. And through that one adoption, there were about a dozen, and they're all active at Family Church through that one adoption. So Tony, tell us, because you've got a meeting that you've got to get to, but tell me about the bill that's in the pipeline right now that our viewers need to be aware of.
Well, you passed.
Oh, the bill that we passed last session?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that bill is already in effect, and it's already helping out a lot of or I guess they're not kids anymore because they're over 18. But one of our former foster kids that was with us for about, what, 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, was with us for 2 years, and he signed himself out of care when he was 18, as a lot of kids do. But in the course of 1 year, or after leaving Second Chance Ranch, his mother had passed away, whom he was living with. He was carjacked at gunpoint and was homeless, kind of just bouncing from couch to couch or sleeping in his car sometimes even before it got stolen. And he calls me one day, and I don't know any of this, but he calls me and asks if I can pick him up in Little Rock to come to church. So I said, of course. So I go pick him up, we go to church, we go out for lunch, and he tells me all the stuff that happened to him, and that he tried to reach out to his former case manager to get back into foster care, but he missed his court date because he didn't have transportation, so he couldn't get any assistance because he's still eligible to be in foster care until your 22nd birthday, but he missed his court date. Yeah. So I was like, man, we have this kid who's struggling, who's really
Homeless.
Struggling, homeless, has no help, and just reaching out and can't help himself. Yeah. So I filed the bill that just eliminated the whole court process, because a lot of times these kids go before a judge, they feel like they're being punished for something. It's just not a good experience, good memories that they so we did away with that, and DHS was on board. A lot of judges were on board. They said, it's kind of unnecessary. Yeah. So as long as DHS is willing to accept the child back into care, which I asked how often are you not willing to accept it? And Director Martin said, as long as the kid's not just rejecting any advice or hey, you can't do drugs, and if they're just oh no, I'm going to do drugs, well then okay, you're not going to come back into care. So as long as they're willing to work with DHS, then they'll take them back. Yeah. And as of our last committee meeting, I serve on the committee that deals with children, among other things. But she said she doesn't know exactly how many people that have already benefited from this bill, but she is aware of a handful of cases that this applies to already.
So let me just kind of reframe that for our viewers. Typically, children growing up in foster care, they've been in care for a long time, they have one dream: get out of care. I'm going to have my 18th birthday, I'm signing myself out. We see that pattern over and over. That's why you mentioned TLP earlier. That was our transitional living program that y'all were also involved in. And you were instrumental in getting that bill through committee and to the floor and getting it passed, where a young person who's 18 and a half and they got out on their own and went, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for this, can get back into care. so that they can continue to grow with a support network.
Yeah.
And that young man lives right here in Saline County, works at a local retailer, and we know him really well.
Yeah.
Super awesome guy. He just needed a second chance. All right, we've just got about 2.5 minutes. Tell me about school choice. Where are we at? We just recently were supposed to have a big school choice rally. COVID kind of interrupted that. But where do we stand right now? Election coming up in the fall, school choice.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that, earlier I said outside of guns and babies, we don't agree on a whole lot, and school choice is one of those things. I think there's
know what your candidates stand for before you vote for
we
them.
can look across the country and see that, education is playing a big role in a lot of elections, especially in like Virginia, this last one. So I think, especially in Little Rock, people are taking note of that, and more people are on board with school choice. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get something done this next general session.
I can't think of anyone more qualified to determine where their kids go to school than their parents.
Yeah.
Now that's a shock for a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that parents aren't qualified to make that decision. Some of those people are actually politicians. We happen to believe, because I know y'all go to family church, and the pastor there is very pro school choice.
Yeah.
And God allows us to make choices. Even when we make bad ones, He lets us make choices. And we want to encourage you, because this impacts children in care big time, not just children in the neighborhood or in the community, is please contact your representative if you are pro-school choice, and let them know that you are pro-school choice and you want them to represent you at the Capitol like Tony does. And I also want to encourage you to pray for those like Tony, our public servants, who are prayerfully serving the Lord, serving their constituents and the community, our community specifically, Tony, and pray for them that they can take a strong stand for constitutional and Christian values at the state capitol. Also, I want to remind you as we end this show that this show, as it ends, is not the end of Kids in Care. We have thousands of kids in care.
4,600.
How many?
4,600 last time I saw.
Yeah, 4,600 and
So
we
about
have
1,600 homes, so way less homes than.
and we have about 350, give or take a couple, that are looking for an adoptive family. We pray this show encourages you, informs you, challenges you, and if it irritates you, that you'll pray for us. It will be more effective in changing the hearts and lives of children in care through political legislation and prayer. We'll see you next time right here at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Bye-bye.